I wake before the rooster, before the gulls even think to cry. The air is damp and heavy, and my bones know the tide better than the clock. I swing my legs off the cot, careful not to wake my wife, curled beside me. The hut creaks when I move, patched walls groaning like an old man's knees. My children breathe deep in the corner, wrapped in quilts their grandmother stitched. They don't know how thin the walls are against the wind, how close the sea's hunger presses against us every night. I step outside, boots crunching on damp sand, nets hanging limp on their posts. Salt stings my nose, sharp and clean, but my back is already aching at the thought of the hours ahead. That ache never leaves. It just shifts from one place to another. I pull the nets into the boat, hands numb though the sun hadn't yet risen. My fingers are cracked, nails rimmed with black. Sometimes I look at them and wonder if they'll ever feel soft again. The horizon is a bruise of gray and silver, the kind of sky that makes the sea look endless. I row steady, muscles burning like they always do, body trained to keep moving even when my mind drifts elsewhere. And it does drift, more often than I admit. Some mornings I catch myself staring past the line where sky meets water, imagining something waiting beyond. Ships that carry people to lands I've only heard about in church sermons or on radios crackling with faraway voices. Places where men don't measure their worth by the size of their catch. But then the oar dips, the boat rocks, and I remind myself I was born into this tide. My father rode it. His father too. Each of 'em rising before dawn. Each of 'em coming home with salt in their hair and silence in their throats. That silence feels heavier than the nets some days. I tell myself I do this for my family. And it's true, I do. Their laughter fills the hut because my hands stay raw. My wife's stew warms my belly because I haul nets until my back bends. But beneath the love is a hollowness I can't name. Like the sea has carved out a piece of me I'll never get back. I glance at the boy curled up on the cot when I return in the evenings. My eldest, already broad in the shoulders though he's just 12. One day, soon, he'll take the oars from me. Folks call it pride watching your son step into your shoes. But what kind of pride is it if the shoes are worn through? What kind of inheritance is a life that grinds a man down to silence? The thought settles heavy in my chest. I love my boy too much to want this for him. Yet here I am, repeating the same rhythm, as though the sea wrote my fate long before I was born. I row on, nets dragging behind me, salt spray biting my face. The horizon stares back at me, and for the first time in a long while, I feel the pull of something that isn't duty. Something like a question whispered just beyond the waves. And that morning, I sense it. The sea is waiting to answer.
The morning mist hangs thick as cloth, swallowing sound, swallowing sight. Even the gulls stay quiet, as if the fog has pressed their wings to their sides. My boat drifts slower now, nets heavy with the sea's silence. The water is flat as glass, though I can't tell where it ends or where the sky begins. I pause, oars still, breath shallow in my chest. In this quiet, every creak of wood feels too loud, every drop of water slipping off the oar like a bell in a church. I squint, trying to find the sun, but the fog has eaten it whole. It's just me and this floating world of gray. Then I see it. At first I think it's driftwood, a crooked limb sticking up where it shouldn't. But the longer I look, the more it grows into a shape, a jagged outline, not steady like the fishermen's boats, not familiar like the skiffs tied along the shore. This thing tilts in the water, a crooked silhouette where nothing should be. My throat tightens. I should turn away, row back toward land, but my hands grip the oars instead, pulling me closer. Curiosity, or maybe something deeper, tugs harder than fear. I row slow, each stroke careful, the boat sighing against the current. The closer I come, the stranger it looks. Not driftwood, not even a boat I'd call whole. Just planks patched together, crooked as if hammered by desperate hands. Foam blocks jammed between the wood, tar smeared across the seams like someone begged the sea not to break it apart. I stop rowing, the current sliding me closer. The fog clings tighter now, muting the world to nothing but me, the water, and this thing. My heart thunders against my ribs, loud enough I'm sure the sea can hear it. I tell myself to leave it. Let the tide take it where it will. But the silence feels heavier with this shadow floating before me. My father used to say, curiosity gets a man drowned quicker than the tide. And yet, something in me insists. I hook my rope to the side, steadying my boat against the fragile vessel. The wood shudders under my hand, slick and cold. My breath hitches. I climb aboard. The air shifts, the smell of tar and wet wood closing around me. My skin prickles as though I've stepped into someone else's story, a place I wasn't meant to find. And inside, there are traces waiting.
The deck shifts under my weight, planks bending like they're holding their breath. My boots scrape across the floor and the sound is too loud in the fog-fixed silence. The vessel is smaller than I thought, more fragile up close. Every seam patched with whatever the builder could find. Foam blocks, tar streaks, nails bent crooked from being hammered too many times. I crouch low, brushing my fingers along the boards. The wood feels rough, splintered, soaked deep with salt water. It's not a boat born of skill, but of desperation. Somebody built this to hold their hope together, even if just barely. Scattered across the floor, scraps of a life. A frayed strip of fabric, blue once but now faded to gray. A broken mug rolling from side to side with each tilt of the waves. A kettle, dented and blackened, knocking against my boot. I lift it, turn it in my hand, and set it down gently as though it still belonged to someone. Each thing whispers a story. Each thing feels alive with absence. I can almost see the hands that touched them. Somebody laughing into that mug, somebody pouring water into that kettle, somebody sewing that cloth into something to keep warm. I swallow hard. The air feels too close, pressing against my skin, telling me I don't belong here. Still, I can't leave. I walk deeper into the vessel, the boards groaning beneath me. The tar smell is thick, sharp in my nose, burning the back of my throat. But underneath it, I sense something else. Not wreckage, not loss, defiance. Whoever built this refused to let the sea decide their fate. They carved faith into these broken planks, stitched survival into every crooked seam. And I know something about that. Black folks been doing it forever, making a way out of scraps, holding together what the world said was useless. My people built homes out of cast-off wood, carved lives out of what was left behind. I see it here, a kind of mirror, but also a challenge. The silence deepens, as if the vessel itself is waiting for me to understand. My palms sweat, heartbeat loud in my ears. My eyes scan the walls, rough and water-streaked. Then my fingers brush against something nailed there. Wood splinters bite my skin as I tug it free. It's paper. The paper nearly tears when I pull it loose, corners damp and curling like leaves left out in the rain. My hands tremble as I unfold it, careful not to rip what feels too fragile to exist out here. The ink bleeds in places, letters crooked and hurried, written as if the sea might have stolen the words before they could dry. I hold it up to the pale light seeping through the fog. My eyes trace the lines, lips moving without sound at first, then whispering as if the words need to be breathed to live. Dreams cannot live if left on the shore. I freeze, the phrase catching in my throat. My breath stumbles, chest tightening until it feels like the sea itself has climbed inside me. I expected numbers maybe, names, some practical note about where they were going or who they were leaving behind. But no, this isn't a log. It's a plea, a declaration. The words tremble inside me. I whisper them again, louder this time, tasting the salt of my own voice in the air. Dreams cannot live if left on the shore. It's as if whoever wrote this reached across the water, across time even, to place it in my hands. Like they saw me, the man who rows every day, nets heavy with fish and silence, who buries his own dreams under duty until they rot. It feels too direct, too sharp, as though the sea itself chose me to hear it. I close my eyes, and suddenly I'm a boy again, staring out at the same horizon, wondering what might be past it. Back then, before responsibility hardened my shoulders, I used to imagine stepping onto a ship that would carry me beyond the known tides. But life taught me to hush those thoughts, to bow my head, to row. Now this letter, these words scrawled by some unknown hand, ripped the silence wide open. I whisper them a third time, softer, like confession. Dreams cannot live if left on the shore. For years I've convinced myself duty was enough, feeding my family, holding the line of survival. But what if survival isn't the whole story? What if silence has stolen more from me than the sea ever could? The letter shakes in my grip. My palms are slick, my heart refusing to calm. I know, deep in my bones, that I can't row back to shore the same as before. These words won't let me. But then comes the question I can't answer. How does a man carry another's dream home?
That night, back in the hut, the sea's damp still clings to my skin. My wife moves around the fire, stirring a pot that fills the room with the smell of smoked fish and onions. The children laugh in the corner, dice tumbling across the dirt floor, their voices bright like birds set free. From the outside, it looks like any other evening. But inside me, something's been split wide open. The letter is folded tight in my pocket, pressed so close it warms against my thigh. I can't stop touching it, my hand drifting there as if checking to see it's real. I wait until the children have gone quiet, until my wife hums soft to herself, back turned. Then I slip the paper out, unfolded beneath the faint firelight. The words burn brighter the second time, each letter cutting deep. Dreams cannot live if left on the shore. I nod them silently, careful not to wake suspicion, though my chest feels like it might break open. The handwriting is shaky, uneven, like someone wrote it with more hope than certainty. That hope crawls into me like an ember, refusing to go out. I glance at my children, their eyes closed now, lashes resting on round cheeks. My eldest sprawls long on the cot, too big for the blanket pulled over him. He'll be a man soon, and what will I hand him? A life of nets, of aching backs, of silence? I think of my father, how he gave me no words beyond work hard and provide. He never told me about dreams. Maybe he was too tired to believe in them. My wife catches me staring at the paper and frowns. "You're restless tonight." I fold the letter quick, shove it back into my pocket. "Just the tide in my bones," I say. She studies me for a moment, then shakes her head, ladling stew into bowls. But I feel her eyes on me longer than usual, like she knows something's shifted. When the house goes still, I lie awake, the letter spread across my chest. The words echo, turning in my mind, reshaping the walls of this hut. Duty has always been enough, or so I told myself, but now I see it plain. Duty feeds the body, yes, but it starves the spirit, if that's all you give. I don't want my children to inherit just survival. I want them to inherit possibility, to know they can push against the tide, not only bow to it. The fire in me won't let me sleep. I rise in the dark, step outside where the wind tastes of salt and smoke. The horizon glimmers faint in the distance, moonlight smeared on the water like a path. I know then I can't let that vessel vanish back into the sea's mouth. It carries more than scraps of wood. It carries something alive, something I need to keep.
Before dawn breaks, I slip out, the letter folded tight against my heart. The sand is cold beneath my boots, the sea whispering low like it knows my secret. My arms ache before I even touch the oars, but I row anyway, muscles burning, breath sharp in the chill. The fog thins as the vessel comes into view again, waiting like it never left. This time I don't hesitate. I tie my ropes firm, knotting them with hands that know work better than rest. The wood groans as I pull, waves tugging against me, the boat resisting like it wants to stay hidden. My shoulders scream, my back threatens to give, but I grit my teeth and haul. Stroke after stroke, I drag that vessel toward land. Salt spray blinds me, ropes cut deep into my palms, but I don't let go. My heart pounds in rhythm with the waves, and somewhere in the struggle I realize I'm not just pulling wood, I'm pulling proof. Proof that a dream, even battered, even half drowned, deserves to touch shore. By the time I near the beach, the sun has risen, and so have the villagers. They gather quick, lining the sand, voices carrying across the tide. Some point and laugh, shaking their heads. "Look at him, dragging trash like treasure." Another spits in the sand. "That thing belongs back where he found it, sea junk." I say nothing. My body answers for me, every muscle straining until the vessel grinds against the shore with a shudder. I stumble out, knees weak, chest heaving, salt stinging my lips. The villagers crowd closer, circling, eyes sharp with judgment. One man kicks at the planks, sneers, "A curse, that's what it is, best to burn it." I plant myself between them and the vessel, breath ragged, heart still racing. My hands tremble, but not with fear, with reverence. I stand tall, silent, my body a wall. They jeer louder, muttering about madness, about wasted time. But I don't move. I won't let them dismantle it, won't let them reduce what I know is more than wood and tar. I can feel the letter's words echoing in my chest, louder than their laughter.
The crowd grows restless, curiosity mixing with mockery. Children peek around their mother's skirts, eyes wide, while the men grumble. Some drift away, shaking their heads. Others linger, whispering. I stay rooted, guarding the vessel like it holds more than scraps, because it does. And even as I stand there, sweat cooling on my skin, I sense it. This vessel is no longer just mine. It's about to speak to others too.
Days pass, and the vessel stays planted on the sand like a stubborn tree. At first, folks keep their distance, muttering as they walk by. Some call it cursed. Others say it's nothing but driftwood stitched together with foolishness. But slowly, the tide of voices begins to shift. Children are the first to break the line. I find them climbing over the planks, barefoot and bold, laughter spilling out as they turn the wreck into a ship of their own. They tie rags to sticks, raising flags, shouting out names for lands they imagine across the sea. Their joy rings out against the waves, louder than the gulls. The elders frown, telling them to leave it alone, but even they linger longer than they admit. Some shake their heads as they watch, yet their eyes soften. Curiosity is harder to quiet than judgment. I keep my silence, guarding the letter folded in my pocket. I never tell them about the words nailed inside, the ones that lit a fire in me. That stays mine, at least for now. Instead, I stand nearby, repairing my nets, pretending not to listen as the children weave their fantasies. I hear them talk of cities with streets made of gold, of ships that sailed so far you never see land again, of skies that stay bright even at night. I hear them dare to dream aloud. And for the first time in years, I don't hush it. I don't call them foolish. I let their voices rise. My own children grow bolder too. My eldest climbs into the vessel at dusk, running his hands along the patched seams. "Who built this, Papa?" he asks one evening, his voice low. "Someone who believed in more than survival," I say. He doesn't answer right away, but the look in his eyes, wide, unsettled, curious, tells me he's hearing more than the words. Around the fire at night, I begin to tell them stories, not just of the sea, not just of storms survived, but of places I've never seen. I shape them from fragments I've carried since boyhood, things I once buried, and they listen. My youngest leans close, eyes bright, as if I'm feeding him something more nourishing than stew. It strikes me then, this vessel no longer belongs only to me. It has become a mirror for the whole village. Some see danger, some see foolishness, some see freedom, but everyone sees something. And as the sun sinks one evening, painting the sky orange and violet, I feel the letter heavy in my pocket. The words inside have burned me long enough. It's time to share them.
The evening is calm, the kind where the tide hushes low and the air holds its breath. Families gather along the beach, the vessel silhouetted against a sky streaked with fire and gold. My wife sits beside me, children pressed close, neighbors circling near though they try not to look too eager. Even those who mocked it in the beginning have come, pretending they only stopped on their way home. The letter weighs in my hand, edges soft now from being unfolded too many times. My palms sweat against the paper, and for a moment I think of keeping it to myself, guarding it like a secret flame. But then I see my boy's eyes, steady, expectant, and I know. A flame left hidden dies out. I stand, clear my throat, and the chatter fades.
The sea fills the silence, waves lapping gentle as if it too is listening. I raise the paper, voice unsteady at first, then stronger as the words take root in the air. Dreams cannot live if left on the shore. The line hangs there, carried on the wind. For a heartbeat, no one speaks. My chest tightens, afraid the words will vanish like mist, afraid they'll scatter without meaning. But then I see it, the flicker in my children's faces, the stillness in the crowd, the way even the elders lean in. I read the rest aloud, every crooked line, every hurried word. I read it like prayer, like testimony. The voice on the page becomes my own, stitching me to someone I'll never meet, yet somehow know. When I finish, the hush holds. Then my youngest claps, a sharp sound against the tide, and laughter follows, soft but real. My wife takes my hand, squeezing it once. My eldest stares at the vessel, his jaw set, as if he's already building his own voyage in his mind. Something shifts in me then. I realize I am no longer just a man bound by nets in duty. I am a keeper of flame, a storyteller, a father who can pass down more than survival. I don't know where these words will carry my children or what shores they might reach, but I know this much. They will not inherit only silence. The sun dips lower, the vessel dark against the glow, children climbing its sides as if it might lift them straight into the horizon. The sea breathes steady, patient, carrying secrets, but also carrying hope. And I wonder, not with dread, but with something close to joy, what my children will do with this legacy.